Welcome back again. Today we're going to go over multiplying complex numbers. That's kind of what we're working on this week, or how do we work with complex numbers and how do we do that? So we've done so far adding and subtracting, exponents. Now we're going to talk about multiplying, and next week we'll talk about dividing complex numbers. We actually need to know how to multiply them first before we divide them. So in here, just a little bit of reminders. Again, what we know from a couple days ago, right? Square root of -1 is I. And then what we know from yesterday, the thing we should have memorized is that I squared is -1. We're actually going to utilize this quite a bit today. And today I'm just going to go over a few examples and put those in there. Yep. So like here, if we wanted to do 8 times 7i, right? We're just multiplying stuff, nothing too complicated. We'd do 8 times 7, and we would know that we could just say is 56i. Nothing too amazing or complex about that. You just multiply the two numbers together, and that's all you'd have. Yeah. That's the basics of it, right? Obviously, things are going to get a little bit more complicated, but that's our main idea on there. And if we went in and we had some extra stuff like this, here's our example 2 where there's multiple I values in there, we do have to be a little bit careful. Here we would have to say, oh, 5 times 3, that's 15 I squared. And then we have to remember, if ever there's an exponent on the i's, we can simplify that. I squared is -1, so the end result here is actually -15. So we have to be a little bit careful on that one. We should get -15 when this is all said and done. Still not too bad. I mean, that's not too bad. We can distribute stuff just like we normally would. Here we do our 7 times 2, that's 14, plus 7 times 9, I, right? I mean, nothing too bad with that as long as there isn't any extra I stuff. We multiply that just like we normally would. But here's the main thing of what we want to get to today is our distributing throughout, right? We want to distribute these things throughout. So here we would want to, multiply each piece through, kind of like your FOIL method, or I call Ninja Nation distributing, whatever you want to call that. That's what we're going to be doing here. So here we should do like 3 times 8. 3 times 8 is 24. Okay. And then we do 3 times 5i. Well, that's 15i, right? That's multiplying through with the 3. Then we would take this 6i and send it through. So we'd have 6i times 8. Well, that's 48i, because that's 6 times 8, it's 48. And then we would take 6i times 5i, right? That would be our piece. 6i times 5i is 30i squared. Okay, so we'd have to take that whole step, put that whole thing down first, and we'd have that. Then next step is to combine, well, actually, I'm going to simplify stuff a little bit. And we know that I squared is actually equal to -1, so this should really be -30, right? That's what we want to put in there. So that's kind of my next step, is to change any exponents like we did yesterday, I squared being negative, and now we can add and subtract stuff together like we normally would. So -30 here, +24, that makes it be -6 if we put those two things together. 15, 48, I suppose that's 63 when all is said and done, 63i, and there is our result. Now, if you really wanted to, you can put this, I mean, it wouldn't be technically incorrect. If you put 63i minus 6, that is okay. But in standard form, we usually put the real number, the real part first, and then the I stuff second. That's called A plus BI form. So usually we put it in this form, put the I's last when we do that, but it should always simplify down to something like that. So I'm going to do one more example just to show you guys kind of how that works. Here I just put a few more negatives in because we might have to keep track with those negatives. So in here, same type of thing to start. Here I'd multiply through by -5. So -5 times 4, -20. -5 times -10i, positive 50i. Being careful of those negatives there. Then we would have multiply through by our 7, so we'd have 28i and -70i squared, not forgetting about those squareds. And that's my step 1, factor everything through. Then I'll take care of any exponents. I squared is actually +1, so, or sorry, I squared is -1, it will turn this into a positive number, and then we can combine stuff together. Here's 70, and -20 is actually 50. Putting these two together turns that into a 78i on that case. And there we go. And that's multiplying complex numbers together, just making sure we keep track of the exponents and adding things together. So it's kind of combining the last 2 days is how we work with stuff today. So if you guys have any questions, again, let me know on that. But otherwise, I will see you guys, I suppose, next Monday. As tomorrow you'll have just kind of a short quiz on the stuff that you've been going over this week to make sure you got that stuff down. But I'll see you guys later.